A very warm welcome to all our listeners around the world. You're welcome to the Tokunbo Fernandez show, a show that promotes the true life and success stories of African and Caribbean achievers around the world. So, if there's a product or initiative you wish to share, feel free to give us a call on our number 0788 280 9005. That's 0788 280 9005. Also, take time out to visit our international blog at www.tonyfernandez.co.uk. This is a show promoting the true life stories of African and Caribbean achievers around the world. It's your voice, your community cohesion ideals, and we're here to serve you all the way. We have some amazing guests lined up for the rest of the year. So remember to always log in, subscribe to our channel, and share with others. Today we're logging all the way in New Zealand for the very first time. I don't think we've ever had a guest there, but we have an amazing lady with a very, very rich profile. She's an inspirational speaker, a published writer. She has her fingers in so many pies. She's also an actress. And she's also very, very, very passionate about Pan Africanism and how we promote our story, our narrative in all we do and how we do it. So it's a pleasure to meet for the very first time Madam Getrude. Welcome to the Tokunbo Fernandez show. How are you today?
I'm awesome, Tony. Wonderful to be meeting you and your community. Thank you for having me on your show.
It's a pleasure, and I'm sure our listeners are dying to know a bit about yourself, your background, your journey, but also what you're most passionate about in life.
Oh, where does my journey begin? Let me go back to where I was born. I was born in a small village called Wedza on the eastern highlands of Zimbabwe and Mozambique. Lived in Zimbabwe for my formative years until I left and went to the UK for the first time when I was 19 to try and get my first degree without a scholarship, without money. That didn't work out very well. I then got an opportunity to be an actress in Norway and
Wow.
worked on a musical production about Nelson Mandela. And that helped me tour Europe. We went to Denmark and Sweden and Switzerland with this production. And then I went back home to Zimbabwe and got married. So I am the mother of three amazing children who are now 32, 30, and 24. I have two sons and a daughter. My boys live here in New Zealand. My daughter lives in Melbourne, Australia. So I call myself a serial social entrepreneur, having found myself in this magical island called New Zealand 21 years ago. I came here as a skilled migrant. IT was my first profession. So I came out to New Zealand, worked as a systems analyst, as a programmer, project manager in IT. And my children were very small at the time and was literally forced to go into business so I could find a way to care for my kids and make a living at the same time. And I became an entrepreneur. Started off by going back to my intuitive gifts as an artist. I'm a textile artist. I do African batik. I fabric paint. And that didn't work out very well, trying to sell an African product in Australasia. But it helped me hit on my first $1 million idea, which was a recruiting agency for health workers. So I started bringing health professionals to New Zealand, ran a company called Medical Recruiters of New Zealand for 13 years, and went back to the storytelling through film by participating in the movie King Kong and Avatar with James Cameron and Peter Jackson. And I created the largest database of ethnic minority people for film and advertising in Australasia and supplied all the ethnic extras that took part in both movies. I was 37 at the time, so I quit my day job, hired a managing director to run my companies, and went back to college and did a course in TV and film production. with a vision to digitize my own personal story. The backdrop to the movie script I've been working on is the AIDS pandemic. And a lot of things came in the way that stopped me from completing this project. But now when I look at what's happening in the world with COVID, a lot of things are starting to fall into place. You know, when you try and explain the impact of a pandemic to a community of people who've never experienced anything like it, it was like I was talking a fiction story. And right now with COVID, I think everybody in the world is impacted. I don't think anybody will come out of this experience unscathed. A lot of times these famines, these diseases happen in Africa, and it's so far removed, people can't relate to what the stories we share. So as an African storyteller, I feel it's my job, my duty to frame our story and tell it from our eyes. A lot of times African stories are taken, they are commercialized, the truth is not quite condensed. And I honor every single African person who is sharing their story, because it is our responsibility to take hold of that narrative.
How important would you say it is for us to promote the African narrative today from an African source, from our personal stories, and from our journeys?
I think it's absolutely imperative. You know, we come from such a rich continent, a continent that has been raped, that has been taken advantage of for centuries. And our stories have been written and told by others and not by us. So I think it is our responsibility to do that, to shine a light of this amazing place where we all came from. The resilience and the strength that we have comes from the environments we're from. You know, I've had a lot of people who've said to me, Gertrude, why are you so successful in business? It looks like everything you do seems to work out. But that's not the case. I've had a lot of failures in my life, but what I have learned to do is to bounce back really fast. You know, when you are taught to hustle and to sell from the age of 6 to raise money for your own school fees, nothing can faze you in life as an adult. So my formative years set me up for success, for sure.
Now, considering you're also a very successful business entrepreneur, and of course, you've had your upsets like many entrepreneurs out there, what would you say are the greatest lessons you've learned in business?
Wow. I think for a lot of entrepreneurs who sit on the fence, unsure whether they should go ahead with a project or start a business, my advice would be jump. It's like jumping off a cliff and learning to grow your wings on the way down. What has happened with my entrepreneurial journey is I can see the vision of what I'm trying to create very, very clearly, and I don't start with how to do it. I know in my heart I was born with a gift, with a talent to do it. And then I've just attracted in a very magical way, the mentors and the coaches and the opportunities show up once you commit to that goal. So I think that would be the one thing. The second thing is be prepared for failure. Failure is part of your success. Whenever you are climbing a mountain, you're going to slip back and you have to get up and keep going. People go into business thinking they're going to succeed from inception. Be prepared for failure. And when it happens, dust yourself off, tell yourself, been there, done it, got the t-shirt, try the next thing, just don't give up. And believe in yourself. You know, we are born with gifts. My grandmother used to say that when babies are born, we are born with our hands clutched. We come into this world with all of our gifts. But a lot of people go to their graves holding those gifts. They don't unleash their hands and try out the things that are in their DNA. So I would rather die trying than to regret not ever having tried.
That's fantastic, And how important would you say passion, resilience, and consistency is in that journey?
I think it's everything. I believe that your wealth lies in your passions. When you are passionate about something, it's like playing, it's like a game. It's not work, it's not difficult. The problem with a lot of people is they go into the entrepreneurial journey and focus on things that don't come naturally to them. So your wealth lies in your passion. When you watch a small child learning how to walk or to run, nobody tells them that this is how you walk. You just get up and you put one foot in front of the other and you start to run. As a speaker, I have refined my craft as an African storyteller, as a motivational, inspirational speaker, and have been speaking professionally for 21 years with a great success. Again, the speaking comes with practice. You perfect it by getting on stage and making mistakes and doing it again tomorrow. You never meet a musician who plays a guitar who says they just picked it up and started playing it, right? You have to practice. So you refine your craft by putting the time in to yourself to perfect those skills.
Now, you've been on so many amazing journeys. You've performed with Denzel Washington and Cry Freedom. You've written so many books. You've traveled to many countries. What would you say are your proudest achievements today?
Whew, bringing three amazing human beings into the world would have to be my proudest achievement. Being a mother of three amazing human beings, my children are my pride and joy. I'm now a grandmother to be, so my daughter is expecting her first baby at the
Congratulations.
end of July, so I'm excited about being a grandmother. But I think on a personal level, as an African woman in the diaspora, representing who we are, representing those who came before me, because I know that everything I've done has not been me on my own. My ancestors come with me. So when I stand in those rooms where I'm the only Black woman, I seem to find myself in those situations all the time. I do it knowing that my ancestors are there with me, and it is on their shoulders that I stand. And that's really where my strength comes from.
Okay, that's beautiful. Um, Now, looking back to New Zealand today now, what would you say are the struggles or the journeys of African migrants in New Zealand and Australia?
Oh, it depends on how you come to this part of the world. We have been dispersed in the diaspora in a number of ways. I come from Zimbabwe. I have to be honest, I am an economic refugee, having left Zimbabwe in the late 90s, 2000s, when our economy had crashed. I couldn't get a job as a systems analyst, and I wanted to find a country to bring up my kids. So I came in to build a life for my children and give them the best that I could. Other people have come to this part of the world as refugees. So wars have dispersed us. And it's difficult sometimes when you move to a new country to have those transferable skills that can give you access to employment. And what I've loved to do the most, Tony, is to work in those communities and show people that everything that you did when you were back home can be repositioned, reframed, repurposed in a new environment. So, people who are in the medical profession, for example, they're coming out of Africa to this part of the world. It's very, very difficult to get registration. My ex-husband was a medical doctor, and it took a whole year for him to be accredited. He only got registration in New Zealand because he had South African qualifications at the time. But for most African people, our skills are not recognized here. So either you go back to college and you upskill, or you try and position yourself in an organization that can use those transferable skills. it can be challenging in that sense.
That's fantastic. Now, all our listeners around the world today are also dying to know some of the current initiatives and projects and future initiatives you're working on at the moment. And how can they reach you if they want to connect, network, and collaborate possibly?
Yeah, I love the word collaboration, Tony. And, like you, my current project is called HerStory. The HerStory Circle is a social impact movement where I'm also curating people's stories. And the main focus is on women. We look for stories of business and entrepreneurship, health and wellness, family and relationships, creativity, spirituality, and social justice. And we're creating a platform very similar to TED Talks, where you're presenting for 15 minutes. But we're also creating a platform where we can have transferable skills, a transfer of knowledge, because we run workshops and seminars. So the people who present not only share their stories as a source of inspiration of what's possible, but they run a workshop series as well through our platform. So I'm looking for collaborators. I'm looking for people with stories. 25% of our speakers are male. Until we start bringing men into the rooms where we are discussing women's issues, nothing much will change for the condition of women worldwide. So we welcome men to come and share their stories as well, so that through the listening, us listening to the men's perspective and vice versa, we can bridge that understanding of how we can change the world. So I'm really excited with this new project. We're looking for 1 million people. We launched in 2019 with the first 100 speakers. We scaled to 1,000. We're now at 10,000. So we're doing it on a 10 by 10 by 10. Everybody brings 10 friends to the platform, and we're hoping to connect 1 million stories in 1 year.
And if people want to get to know more about this initiative you're speaking about, how can they reach you? Are there any social media handles, websites or such?
Yes. So our website is the herstorycircle.com. And on Facebook, we have multiple HerStory Circle groups, or the HerStory Women's Empowerment Conference. So you can find us on Facebook, you can find us on Instagram, and mostly on YouTube.
On a very final note, also, what message do you have for all our listeners around the world today? Africans, Caribbeans, and people of all races.
Well, in the current condition that we're in, the Chinese say that they write the word for crisis with two symbols. One stands for dangerous, the other stands for opportunity. So COVID-19 has presented humanity with a very interesting, dangerous opportunity. There are going to be businesses formed in this time by entrepreneurs who are going to be innovative, who are using the internet to reach the world. The world is literally flat. It's the same way I found you. You're sitting in the UK, I'm sitting here in New Zealand. People are very receptive to connecting online because of the condition we're in with COVID-19. So it looks like a crisis. There's going to be a lot of grief and sadness that is coming out of this. But I believe that the universe has given us a time to pause, for us to remember and prioritize what's really important in life, which is family first. Focusing on who is in your home. Then think about your community. And then if you can do something to help somebody else in the world, reach out. And especially for us in the diaspora, we have family and relatives in Africa. This is the time for us to go back home in cash, in kind, with ideas to support those on the ground who are needing that support.
How important is it for us to listen to our voices within and take advantage of this dangerous opportunity?
It's crucial. When that voice within tells you to turn left or turn right, or speak to this person or speak to that person, Tune in and listen. And that's why I'm saying COVID has given us pause. We have been stopped for a reason, and there's going to be magical stories that will be told from what has happened with this particular pandemic. Success stories that will rise from this if you see the opportunity. Some people are only seeing the danger.
Fantastic. It's so amazing to meet you for the first time. Looking
Thank
forward
you.
to collaborating with you more, and keep up the vision and keep shining all the way.
Thank you so much, Tony. And thank you to everybody who tuned in today. Thank
My
you.
pleasure.
Bye-bye.